Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. A federal high court sitting in Abuja, the nation's capital, has annulled the election of Governor Okeze Ikpeazu of Abia State. The court on Monday said Ikpeazu was guilty of tax evasion and was therefore unqualified to have contested the 2015 governorship election in the state. It ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to issue a certificate of return to Samson Oga, a member of the People's Democratic Party who contested the governorship ticket with the governor. INEC had in April 2015 declared Ikpeazu the winner of the Abia State governorship election. Nigeria's Senate President Bukola Saraki and his deputy Senator Ike Ekweremadu on Monday arrived in court to face trial on alleged criminal conspiracy and forgery of the Senate standing rules. The trial was presided over by Justice Yusuf Halilu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja. The two Senate leaders are being arraigned alongside a former clerk of the National Assembly Salisu Maikasuwa and his deputy Benedict Efeturi. All four of them are accused of illegally altering the Senate standing rule used in electing leaders and inaugurating the upper legislative chamber on June 9, 2015.
I have said it again and again. People keep asking me to talk about corruption in the judiciary, impunity in the judiciary, and I've always said it. We do have one or two bad judges, but on the whole, the vast majority of our judges are good men who do their work well under difficult circumstances. And the judge trying this case is not new to me. I have done many cases before him won some, lost some. He's a judge that everybody respects.
CCT is a different ball game altogether. And as you can see, the proceeding is well couched. It's a judicial atmosphere. And all you need to give is the law. And I'm sure we have given him the law.
Meanwhile, a group of protesters voiced their disapproval at the ongoing trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki and his deputy Ike Ekweremadu. The group's defenders of democracy and good governance advocates held a rally at the courthouse in Abuja showing their support for Saraki and Ekweremadu. They urged the Nigerian government to withdraw charges against the Senate leaders.
Our judiciary must stand today. Must stand and defend our democracy. The legislature is the only evidence of democracy in every part of the world. Therefore, we will not stay here and allow our executive to cover our legislature. So no man, no power that is independent of the three arms of the government. And these three arms should be allowed to exercise their powers independently. Therefore, we are here to show our displeasure. We are here to show our total dislike to the executive punishment to the legislature. We are not happy with it. We cannot take it because the future is ours.
In the principles of separation of power, there is a rule. Judiciary should be separate, looking for others, others executive, and the legislature. There should be a no separation of power. But what we are witnessing in Nigeria today is equally looking to be a dictatorship. Look at what is happening on. If you kill our democracy by putting down the legislature, what will Nigeria be? Nigeria has a lot of geographical zones. We need this democracy. We need this democracy. And in the process of needing this democracy, the three tiers of government shall work with the rule of law.
The Nigerian army says it has rescued over 5,000 hostages held captive by the Boko Haram sect in several clearance operations in the northeast part of the country. A statement signed by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman, says 10 terrorists were killed in the operations. Colonel Usman added that one civilian Joint Task Force member was killed while a soldier, a policeman and another civilian Joint Task Force member was wounded during the operation. The statement noted that arms, ammunition and logistic equipment in large quantities were recovered from the terrorists. The Commissioner of Police in Cross River State, south of Nigeria, has confirmed the release of 7 workers abducted in Calabar last week. The 7 contractors, including 3 Australians, 2 Nigerians and a South African, as well as a New Zealander, were seized by gunmen near the city of Calabar on Wednesday. Their Nigerian driver was killed in the attack. Jimoh Ozi Obe, who is the Commissioner of Police in Cross River on Sunday, said no ransom was paid for the release of the workers and they were released unhurt. However, the Australian mining company McMahon Holdings, where the men worked, said 5 of them were injured, 2 of them seriously. The National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has resumed duty after calling off a nationwide strike action embarked upon several days ago. The doctors had resorted to a strike action following the inability of the Nigerian government to meet their demands. One of such demands is the payment of salaries owed them for the past 10 months. Over the weekend, National President of the body, Mohammed Askira, held a press conference in Abuja to announce the resident doctors had suspended their strike action.
In view of the genuine intervention of the Honorable Speaker and other key stakeholders, NARD hereby suspend the ongoing nationwide indefinite strike action so as to enable the government implement the agreements reached within the agreed time frame. That is on or before the 14th July 2016, when we hope to review with the Honorable Speaker himself the progress made on the intervention made so far. For that, work is to resume from Monday, 27 June 2016 at 8 a.m. prompt. This is with the view to relieve the impact of this strike action on teeming Nigerian populace. NARD will review the progress of this intervention at our July NEC scheduled from 25th to 30th of July in Kefi for further appropriate action.
The Bauchi state government says it has discovered 6,065 ghost workers on its payroll. The discovery followed the workers' verification the state government compelled all civil servants to do since January this year. The state governor, Mohammed Abubakar, disclosed this while speaking to journalists at the government house in Bauchi on Sunday. Abubakar said the state government was already investigating workers involved in the sabotage, saying those found guilty would be dealt with according to the law. The Nigerian Police Service has begun investigations into the jailbreak at the Kuje prison in Abuja. 2 high-profile kidnappers, Maxwell Ajuku and Solomon Amodu, who abducted and killed a woman identified as Edith Aliyu, escaped from the Kuje prisons in the daring jailbreak while Muslim inmates were breaking their Ramadan fast. Reports say the officer in charge of the Kuje medium prisons, Musa Tanko, and the chief warder, Stephen Babu, may be queried over the mysterious escape. Meanwhile, the prison has also insisted that Charles Oka, who is the alleged mastermind of the Independence Day bomb blast, is still in their custody despite the jailbreak. The Lagos State Police Command says it has commenced manhunt for the suspected militants who invaded Igbolomu and Ishawo areas of Ikorodu last Friday and unleashed mayhem on residents. The gunmen, alleged to be from the Niger Delta region, reportedly came through the waterways close to the communities and started shooting sporadically. Police officials say at least 6 people died in the attack. No group has claimed responsibility for the incident. The Acting Inspector General of the Police Force, IGP Ibrahim Idris, has appointed DCP Don Awuna as a new Force Public Relations Officer. Awuna replaces ACP Olabisi Kolawole, who was the Force Public Relations Officer from August 2015 to June 2016. Until his new appointment, Awuna was the Deputy Commissioner of the Police in charge of Homicide Section of Force Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department in Abuja. He holds a bachelor's degree in philosophy from the University of Lagos and a master's degree in international relations and strategic studies from Benue State University in Makurdi. The Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has called for the investigation of the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Godwin Obaseki. PDP has accused Obaseki of being involved in an alleged 5.5 billion naira fraud. The opposition party asked the House of Representatives and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to probe the Edo governorship aspirant. Obaseki picked up the governorship ticket of the All Progressives Congress after beating other candidates at the primaries in Benin City, the Edo State's capital. Time for a short break. When we come back, we'll look at more news stories. Don't go away.
That was a very good business.
Yeah.
The furniture you brought was very perfect.
That's how we roll.
Let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much was it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
Mbano. The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I don't do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for someone that understand business.
Take.
Your loss.
But it is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
Now get out.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
You will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people, make we only add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria asked bid offer quotes from currency traders on Monday as it sold dollars on the interbank market to boost liquidity. The Naira ended at 282 to the dollar after the CBN's intervention, slightly weaker than Friday's close of 281. After abandoning the Naira's 16-month-old exchange rate peg a week ago, CBN sold dollars at an auction to clear a backlog of demand and keep markets active. The interbank market traded a total volume of $32 million just before the market closed, which traders attributed to central bank's intervention. UK financial markets remain volatile in the wake of the Brexit vote. The sterling on Monday plunged to a 31-year low against the dollar. While some shares trading in the UK has been put on hold, in Nigeria, the stock exchange is already feeling the effect of the Brexit vote. Stockbrokers here say when the UK eventually pulls out of the EU, we may see a negative impact on the Nigerian economy, since the UK has most of their trading partners here in Africa.
I think in the short term, we're already seeing the effects on our stock exchanges. In the medium term, if the steps to be taken for British exit out of the EU is actually enforced, then we may see the British economy coming down. And since they have most of their trading partners in Africa, they definitely the kind of float that they usually have in terms of support and every other, they may not really be forthcoming as it used to be. And if Britain is going to be alienated from the entire EU, then that means they're going to need to find more business partners. And I think the only place they can recourse to will be Africa. So invariably, while we may lose on some ends, we definitely may gain on some other ends in the medium term.
Well, like we all know, the Nigerian market is internationalized. It does not operate in isolation. It operates in an international financial system. So whatever is affecting the international financial system, obviously is going to affect the Nigerian market. Yes, it has a negative impact on the Nigerian market. As we saw on Friday, prices of equities are coming down. But again, we cannot say that is the only reason or only factor that was responsible for equity coming down in the Nigerian market on Friday and today. Yes, you will also recall that we had some increase in prices. And of course, like I have said in some other forum, once an equity has increased in price, 1 or 2 naira, we will see some short-term investors existing. Yeah, so that cannot be out of place that most of the investors who have had some capital gain are also selling off. But I also believe that the British exiting from the EU has a negative effect on the Nigerian market.
Now, financial experts have also spoken on the effect of Brexit and what it may have on Nigerian banks in the UK. Take a listen.
Session will be there. Britain being a very strong player, a very strong country in the EU exiting, of course, going to affect the banks who are doing business in that community. So I expect the same thing to happen to the banks in Nigeria here, because if Britain, which is a major country in EU, is exiting, of course, it's going to have impact on the business community in the UK, and everybody is going to impact on the Nigerian banks who are operating in the UK.
We need to first look at the quantum of business that they are doing in the UK, because what's the contribution from those countries from Britain, the activities in Britain, that it makes to their P&L, I think to me is not really sufficient to affect it so much. But since some of the banks out there are their corresponding banks, then definitely we will see an effect happening. And we've seen in recent time whereby JP Morgan was talking about exiting UK as their headquarters. And if that happens, then definitely there may be some impact as well. But to me, in the meantime, there may not really be a direct impact for now.
Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, says he plans to launch Nigeria's first private crude oil refinery by 2019. The billionaire also said he intends to double his cement production by adding plants in 8 countries to shrug off a regional economic downturn. Speaking to Reuters, Dangote said the $12 billion refinery would have a capacity of 650,000 barrels a day. Until recently, Nigeria was Africa's biggest crude oil producer. It has since been overtaken by Angola. Oil prices steadied on Monday as market participants better absorbed the shock of last week's vote in Great Britain to leave the European Union. Brent crude was up 17 cents at $48 per barrel, while US crude was up 2 cents at $47.66 per barrel. British Finance Minister George Osborne said Brexit was likely to lead to further instability on financial markets, but added that the world's 5th largest economy would cope with the challenge ahead. South Africa's National Treasury has found that President Jacob Zuma should pay 7.8 million rand for non-security upgrades to his private home. The top court in the country earlier this year ordered Zuma to pay back some of the $16 million of state money spent upgrading his private home. Zuma has said he would comply and pay back a portion of the money. German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Francois Hollande have said they're in full agreement on how to handle the fallout from the UK's decision to leave the European Union. Hollande warned that separated, quote, we risk the risk of divisions, dissension and quarrels, end of quote. The two will now hold talks in Berlin amid a flurry of diplomatic activity in the wake of the so-called Brexit. Moving on to sports now, Team Nigeria at the just concluded African Athletics Championship in Durban, South Africa, finished 3rd on the medals table. The country's contingent amassed 8 gold, 4 gold, 2 silver and 5 bronze medals to finish behind South Africa and Kenya, who finished 1st and 2nd respectively. Nigeria is the most successful side at the African Nations qualifiers and have won a total of 142 gold, 112 silver and 78 bronze medals in the history of the competition. Nigeria will now host the next edition in 2018. 5-time World Footballer of the Year Lionel Messi has retired from international football after his Argentina side lost the Copa America final for the 2nd year in a row. The Barcelona forward missed his penalty as his country lost 4-2 on penalties to defending champions Chile. He announced his retirement just after the match. Messi made his international debut at the age of 18 in a friendly against Hungary in August 2005. He went on to make 113 appearances for the national team, scoring a record of 55 goals. French champions Paris Saint-Germain has sacked its head coach Laurent Blanc despite his successful spell in charge of the squad. The former France coach, who was appointed in June 2013, won 11 trophies in his first 3 years in charge of the club. He was, however, sacked for failing to win a Champions League trophy for the club. Former Sevilla coach Unai Emery has now been touted as his replacement. Well, that's all we have on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.